Prosper log, show date 140802. Got to start another one with a moment of silence. As you may or may not have heard in the news, back on Wednesday, a young African child was discovered to have stowed away aboard a U.S. military plane. And when the plane got to its home station, they discovered the body of the child. As of this time, the victim has not been identified. However, we here at Prosper are going to extend a moment of silence to him to memorialize him and his family. Thank you. All right. With that being said, let us commence. Hold on just a second. All right. Let us commence. I got dogs going to be running in and out, so here we go. This login. Oh, Prosper. I now have an official T-shirt that my better half, Robyn made for me this evening, all on her own. I know the shirt is not perfect. On the other hand, I don't care. Robyn, the Prosper salute. Thank you very much for your support for this effort. This log entry begins with a shout out to Live Long and Prosper Facebook group, commanded by Captain Christine Hope, inspiring all around the world for peace and long life. Keep in mind your mind matter. Live long and prosper. Captain Hope, thank you for sponsoring this week's log entry. Start off the log. To start off, I'm thirsty. And it's been a rough week so far. So we're going to have Sam Adams Cold Snap. 5.3% ABV. Proper opening apparatus, proper technique. Here we go. .45-degree angle right into the best beer consumption apparatus ever. Oh, hold up. Got a little occupied there. I must not have poured it right. Josh Baker, this one's from you, from me. Kids, look, a deer! Alright, well, cheers to y'all, as they would say in the Klingon Empire. Kaplach! Rather foamy. We'll give it time. Should have plenty of. Hey, it's my show. Nothing's perfect. Alright, got to start with the birthdays. First off, from the 27th, Suzy Cologne. Now, this is a charming lady I knew from my time in Germany. Her and her husband, Pete, good friends of ours. I'm glad things are going well for you. I hope things keep going well for you. I understand you just recently moved. I hope that went well. I hope that's going well. I know you don't drink, Suzy, but I will in your honor. Alright. These next two, same month, same day, different years, but these two are like brothers to me. Josh Chenoweth and Austin Arnold. Now, Josh I've known ever since after I was a fetus. I've known him all my life. He lived 2 doors down. Then he eventually moved. We kind of grew apart, but the summer before my senior year in high school, I started working at a factory. The next day, he started working at a factory. First break, we were talking. Ever since then, it was like nothing. And my friend Austin, I didn't actually meet him until after I got out of high school. Josh and Austin have been there through some rough parts of my life. Austin was around one point when I really needed a friend. And gentlemen, to you two, my brothers, the Prosper Salute. And I know neither of you drank either, so I will drink in your honor. All right, next on the list. Commissioned in 1945, the Ambassador class starship U.S.S. Indianapolis. On this, their 69th year of service, U.S.S. Indianapolis, I give you the Prosper Salute. May you and your crew live long and prosper. Protect us from any alien infiltrators. And to you and your crew, cheers. All right. Next on the list. This is a guy that I kind of work with here on Earth Station Okinawa. He's I work with him here at Earth Station Okinawa. John Hazen. John, how you doing? I hope you had a happy birthday. And I'm just like you. You're a trivia nut when it comes to things like TV shows and movies. And man, I hope this show's one for you. John, cheers, enjoy. All right. Next on the list. This is a guy I worked with in Germany while we were watching locals, making sure they stayed where they were supposed to stay. Aaron Williams. Aaron, how you doing, buddy? Hope life's treating you well. I saw you recently got married not too long ago. Congratulations to you, my friend. And hopefully you're getting things straightened out, and hopefully you're still working. Everything's still going good for you. Aaron, cheers to beers, my friend. And the last birthday for the week, my old friend Kevin Hawks. Kevin, how you doing, bud? Hope things are doing well for you. I still remember the trips you made down to Germany while you were up in England. Came down, we broke bread together a couple times in Germany. To you, my friend, I give you the Prosper Salute. Happy birthday to you, and give my best to your wife, Mona. We miss you guys a hell of a lot. Alright, that's it for the birthdays for this week. Want to give a couple additional greetings to a couple friends of mine. First off, Mad Dog Becker. Matt Becker. How you doing, my friend? You're always full of inspiration, among other things. Ha! Just kidding. Love you, buddy. You're full of inspiration. You've always got inspirational quotes. You're always inspiring people. And recently, you just got engaged. Congratulations, my friend. I have not met your fiance. However, I have seen pictures, and yeah, very, very nice. Matt, I drink to you. And finally, to round out this group of shout-outs, I want to extend greetings to a dear good friend of mine that I went to high school with, Jera Becker. Cheeseball, as we used to call her. Jera, it was good talking to you the other night on the old fart book. I hope life's treating you well. From what you were saying the other night, life is treating you well for the most part. And Jera, hope I get to see you again sometime soon. Alright, that's it for all my shout-outs. We did have a Star Trek birthday this past week. On July 29th, actor Will Wheaton, also known as Shut Up, Wesley. Wesley Crusher on Star Trek The Next Generation turned 42 this year. Will, happy birthday. All right. Before I get to the trivia part, before I get to talk about Star Trek, I want to talk about another love of mine. Football. Yep. Preseason starts Sunday, actually. I've got the list of the games copied down, and I'm going to share with you who I'm rooting for the next 2 weeks between this log entry and the next. The Hall of Fame game. Ha, I know, it rhymed. Hall of Fame game, August 3rd. Buffalo versus the New York Giants. Who do I think's going to win? Well, who am I rooting for? Not Buffalo. I'll tell you that right now. Not Buffalo. Definitely rooting for Eli Manning. Now, folks, before I go any further, since I brought him up, I want to let you all know my rules about football. Some people Some people are like, "Oh, you're not a true fan of any team." Bull, effing s. All right. Here's my team right here, Indianapolis Colts. Since I got into football back in 2007, that's who I've rooted for above all else. Of course, that's back when Peyton Manning was playing. Excuse me. 2009, 2010, I think it was. It was the 2010-2011 season. I was like, I should get a secondary team. Just in case the Colts get eliminated, somebody else to fall back on. Somebody else to root for the football season. Somebody else to follow. Well, like I said, Peyton Manning was quarterback of the Colts at the time. So who did I go with? That's right, little brother Eli. Went with Eli. Now, y'all are probably wondering, how did my loyalty shift when Indianapolis shit-canned Peyton? Pardon my language. Kids, block your ears. This is not going to totally be a kid-friendly episode. Well, I'll put it this way. I found these sunglasses here on Earth Station, Okinawa. 2,000 local currency units known as yen. Yep, I stayed with Indianapolis. Indianapolis will always be my number one team. Any team Peyton Manning plays on will be number 2. Because, honestly, I liked him first. I liked him first when he was playing for the Colts. After Peyton, Eli. After Eli, anybody but that Tom, Giselle won't let me go to the Pro Bowl, Brady and the New England Patriots. Patriots fans, hey kids, look, a deer. That's all I have to say about that, as Forrest Gump would say. Alright, now, I went into a little bit of a tangent there. Yeah, no, I don't care, but I felt it was necessary to explain myself. Preseason week 1, August 7th. Indianapolis at New York Jets. I just told you how this goes. If you don't understand, sorry, I got something for you later. Indianapolis. New England at Washington. I think I would rather get kicked into nuts with a steel-toe boot than root for New England. Yep, going with Washington. San Francisco at Baltimore. I'm not a. I gotta go with San Fran on this one. Sorry, Baltimore Ravens. Your franchise is full of convicts and jerkwads and D-bags and a-holes. The only time I'm gonna root for you is when you're playing the Patriots. Cincinnati at Kansas City. I gotta go with Kansas City on this one. I know. Now, some of you may be saying, why Kansas City? You're closer to Cincinnati. No, I think Kansas City has a superior group in this bunch. Has a superior team. I'm going with them. Seattle at Denver. You think I'm rooting for Seattle? You all got something else coming to you. Dallas at San Diego. Now, folks, I don't always root for the Cowboys, but when I do, they're playing the Patriots. So, that being said, go with San Diego. August 8th. Miami and Atlanta. I got to go with Atlanta on this one. They seem to have the stronger team, in my opinion, but we'll see. Going with going with Atlanta. Long day. It's been a long day today. Going with Atlanta. Buffalo at Carolina. I got to go with Buffalo. I'm not really that impressed with Cam Newton, although he is slowly starting to turn around a little bit on a personal level. I saw a picture of him the other day. He walked over to a paralyzed fan, a fan in a wheelchair. I don't know what the PC term is. It's a fan in a wheelchair, okay? Took off his shoes, autographed them, gave them back to the fan, and walked back onto the field in his socked feet. Cam Newton, I give you the prosper salute. I like that stuff. But unfortunately, got to go with Buffalo on that one. Tampa Bay at Jacksonville. Really? Jacksonville's in my division. Do you honestly think I'm going to root for them? Oakland, Minnesota. There's another team I won't root for, even if they are playing the Patriots. That's Oakland. In fact, if I ever saw an Oakland New England game, I'd change the channel. Try to find another game. So yeah, gotta go with Minnesota on that one. Philadelphia Eagles and Chicago Bears. The Bears. No, don't Don't let that fool you. Sorry, Matt Becker. Got to go with Philadelphia on that one. Ever since that hit Austin Collie took, and the way the Eagles responded to their fans responding to that hit, I don't know if y'all remember that, but Austin Collie just took a hit, it was an ugly hit, had a concussion from it. Screw their fans. The Eagles stopped what they were doing, made sure Austin Collie was all right, even with the Eagles fans screaming at him, cussing at him, booing at him. The Eagles basically did one of these. Hey kids, look, a deer! The Eagles basically did that to their fan base. Any team that can stand up to their fans supporting another team, I give the Prosper salute. New Orleans at St. Louis. I'm still pissed off at New Orleans for that Super Bowl that Indianapolis lost to them. Ugh. I will admit, New Orleans deserved a ring. I'm just sorry it came at the cost of Peyton's second ring. So yeah, I got to go with St. Louis on that one. August 9th. Cleveland at Detroit. No. Sorry, I got to go with Detroit on that one. I don't think Cleveland can pull it off. Pittsburgh at New York Giants. Really? Ben Roethlisberger? Really? No. Got to go with Eli. After what Ben Roethlisberger did? No. No thank you. I'm good. Green Bay at Tennessee. Really? Another AFC South team. Green Bay. Got to go with the Cheeseheads. Now, I may get some crap from my Bears fans, but hey, I'm not going to root for a team in my own division that I eventually want to see the Colts beat later. So I'm going with Green Bay. And finally, Houston and Arizona. Same thing. Going with Arizona. Alrighty. Now that I've gotten through football, let's talk Star Trek. My number 2 love, right behind my wife and family. This week's episode I'm going to discuss is The Naked Time. Basically, the Enterprise arrives in orbit of a planet who is decaying. The planet's basically decaying. And unbeknownst to the Enterprise crew, the landing party, which consists of Mr. Spock and a guy named Tormolen, they beam aboard. They transport aboard a virus that affects the crew like alcohol. Imagine that. And the virus starts spreading, while at the same time the Enterprise orbit of the planet is decaying. Basically, what ends up happening is Lieutenant Kevin Riley imagines himself as an Irish folk singer, Sulu a swordsman. Spock even has a little bit of an emotional breakdown. Captain Kirk talks about his love for the Enterprise, and Dr. McCoy and Scotty being the only ones able to do anything for the ship, essentially. The episode ends with Scotty actually, one of his famous lines, "I cannot change the laws of physics, Captain." Get a new Scottyism in the episode. Between him and Spock and Dr. McCoy, they managed to save the Enterprise. However, at the end of the episode, we are led to believe that the Enterprise travels backwards in time 3 days. The episode ends with the Enterprise flying on to their next mission. I'll get into that ending here in a minute. The episode was referred to in the Next Generation episodes The Naked Now and Relics. Relics was a really good episode. I like that one. According to Bob Justman in his book Inside Star Trek: The Real Story, author John D.F. Black was so focused on writing this episode that his duties as the series' stories editor suffered. Black was later outraged when he discovered that Roddenberry rewrote his script without consulting him or even telling him about it. When Sulu invades the bridge, bare-chested with his sword, Sulu is glistening with sweat and grabs Uhura, who struggles against him. Sulu is then wrestled down by Kirk and nerve-pinched by Spock. Later, it is revealed that the Psi-2000 virus passes from person to person by perspiration. It is unknown to what degree of physical contact is needed to contract the disease or the exact circumstance for its transfer, which might explain why Kirk, Spock and Uhura did not contract the disease from Sulu. Makes sense. Obviously, it has to be longer than a quick touch. This episode features the first reference to bulkheads in Star Trek. Who's a bulkhead? I'm not a bulkhead. You're a bulkhead. Dr. McCoy tears the sleeve on Kirk's uniform to inject him with the hypo, but this seems to have been done for dramatic effect only, as in subsequent episodes, a hypo shot is delivered through clothing. Any excuse to rip Captain Kirk's t-shirt. Sorry, Shatner. No, but I really don't want to see your chest that bad. Some of these other girls might. Some of these girls and the men that like the men might. But I don't. Here's a good one. During the rec room scene, Joe Tormolin tells Sulu, "You don't rank me and you don't have pointed ears." Sulu does, in fact, rank him. He and Riley hold the rank of lieutenant, while Tormolin is a lieutenant junior grade. Tormolin's tunic with a single broken line of braid on the sleeves is the only example of the lieutenant junior grade rank in the original series. I bet you didn't know that existed. It does. He's the only one. Well, he was the only one. You watch the episode, you'll understand why I said that. According to Shatner's memoirs, the scene where Spock breaks down into tears was originally supposed to have been a simple sight gag of a crewman painting a mustache on Spock. Nimoy desired a deeper scene for Spock and created the poignant interplay between Spock's human and alien halves. As the production day was winding down, there was time for only a single take, which Nimoy did unscripted. Nimoy described the production of the scene at length in Star Trek Lives. The scene is echoed by Picard suffering an emotional breakdown in Sarek's place in the Next Generation episode, Sarek. Leonard Nimoy, I give you props, and it's rather fitting that I give you this, considering you're the one that started this. This episode is considered a bottle show, as it contains no villain and only regular characters, and takes place almost entirely aboard the Enterprise. According to Black, at the time, both Riley and Tormolin were under consideration to become regulars. Could you imagine that? Those guys as regulars instead of Chekhov and, I don't know, pick another one. The handheld device used by Spock to figure the time before impact is actually an E6B flight computer, which pilots still use today. The particular brand of E6B used is a Jepson CSG-1P slide graphic computer. The same CSG-1P can be seen in The Corbomite Maneuver, Mud's Women, and Wolf in the Fold. Excuse me. The environmental suits Spock and Tormolin wore down on the planet's surface were made of shower curtains. Imagine that. Wearing shower curtains. See, you learn something new every day. I didn't even know that one. The sensor device Spock carries was seen previously in The Enemy Within, which is actually aired later. We'll go on. Was seen previously in The Enemy Within as Scotty checked out the ore on Fisher's uniform. It is actually a repainted and slightly modified Nuclear Chicago Model 2586 Cutie Pie radiation survey meter from the late 1950s. In Obsession, it can be seen being held by a crewman as he prepares to scan Garavik's quarters following the infiltration of the cloud creature. It is also taken aboard the U.S.S. Constellation by the damage control party in The Doomsday Machine. John D.F. Black came up with Sulu's berserk scenes without specifying the weapon to be used. Unable to decide between a samurai sword or a fencing foil, he left the choice to George Takei, who picked the latter with the thought by the 23rd century humanity would have developed to a point where, in terms of culture, people would move beyond simply adhering to ways of their ethnic background. That's actually pretty smart. That was good thinking back then by George Takei. Plus, it does not perpetuate a stereotype. I say that loosely, but hey, works for me. The dead woman's body on Psi 2000 was a mannequin. Her torso was permanently damaged by the ice put on it, And after the shooting, she was taken to Bob Justman to his office and was displayed there along with the M113 creature from The Man Trap, and later the 2 Gorn costumes from Arena. Justman placed the naked mannequin under a shower to scare unsuspecting visitors in the restroom. Bob Justman, you're goofy, but at the same time, you're thoughtful. I salute that, and I drink to that. This is the first appearance of the Recreation Room in the original series, after its very different depiction in the second pilot, Where No Man Has Gone Before, which is actually a redress of the briefing room set. The 3-dimensional tic-tac-toe game seen alongside the chess prop can be seen in many later episodes in the same set. 3D tic-tac-toe? I didn't get that good a look at it. I wonder if that's anything like today's 3D tic-tac-toe. Maybe. Maybe not. Bueller? The lighted panels in sickbay and engineering did not contain lights that moved in patterns. Rather, stagehands manipulated objects behind the panels to make it look as if the lights were shifting about. In The Naked Time and other episodes, you can see this money-saving trick in action, especially in close-ups or in rooms on the sets that are well lit. Think about it. It actually works. It worked out. Scotty's phaser does not produce a beam as he uses it to cut through the bulkhead to engineering, but blue sparks fly out of the wall to show the cutting action. The absence of a phaser beam is probably due to a post-production oversight or the need to save money on special effects costs. It is also possible that because Scotty is engaged in such a delicate operation, the phaser is on an extremely tight setting and the energy beam is so narrow as to be invisible. In the remastered version of the episode, In the remastered version of the episode, Scotty's phaser gets its beam. That was cut off in the middle of the sentence for some reason. A similar effect, or lack thereof, was used in the 3rd season in The Way to Eden. Man, the writers of that one, I don't know. I'll get to it later. This is the only episode in which the appearance of a meal from a food synthesizer is accompanied by a puff of steam. A reaction shot of Spock on the bridge from this episode is reused in both The Enemy Within and The City on the Edge of Forever. 2 good episodes. In the original script, it was Lieutenant John Farrell, actor John Goodwin, who sabotaged main engineering, but in later rewrites, the character was replaced by Kevin Riley, played by Bruce Hyde. This is the first episode in which Eddie Paskey has dialogue. Originally, his character was to have said more lines. Not having any other acting job than being an extra, he was so nervous that a few of his lines had to be said by Spock instead. Hey, what happens? You get nervous sometimes. Remember my first episode? For those of you that don't, go back and watch it. This is also the only episode in which Frank Da Vinci, Brent, whoever the hell that is, has on-screen dialogue. 4 words, but hey, still had dialogue. That's more than I've ever had on an episode of Star Trek. Right? Darn right. Nurse Chapel appears to be watching a slideshow of some sort when Riley surprises her. This episode was Majel Barrett's debut in the regular series as Nurse Chapel and establishes her love for Spock, the First Lady of Star Trek. When Uhura takes Riley's place at the navigation station, this is the first of only 5 times when a female Enterprise crew member will sit at the combined console. The others are Jana Haynes in The Gamesters of Triskelion, Lieutenant Rada in That Which Survives, and 2 unnamed lieutenants in The Way to Eden and Requiem from Methuselah. Note, Yeoman Rand also briefly takes the helm in this episode. This is also one of 4 episodes in which Uhura is at the navigation station. The other 3 episodes are The Man Trap, footage reused from this, Balance of Terror, and Court Martial. George Takei had great fun acting in this episode and took his fencing very seriously, avidly practicing his technique on the set and working out to define his chest muscles for his memorable scene in the corridor. Director Mark Daniels visited Takei in his trailer and asked him to take off his shirt. After observing his bare chest, Daniels announced that they would do the fencing scenes shirtless. Shirtless, which I don't know why that's quoted, but hey. Unknown to him and the rest of the cast and crew, Takei spent all his free time in the next 3 days doing push-ups. I believe it. And finally, this is the only TOS episode in which the 3 primary female crew members, Uhura, Chapel, and Rand, appear together. The characters would not appear together again until Star Trek: The Motion Picture. Well, time to slam the rest of this. Empty as the brain cells of the average Patriots fan. Well, folks, you know what time it is, right? Darn right. It's time for me to get out of here. So y'all take care. Have an awesome night and day. Don't do a thing I wouldn't do. And if you do, name it after me. Don't drink and drive because you might spill your drink. Or, more importantly, you might kill yourself or somebody else. And what's worse and what's dumber than that? It's being a Patriots fan. What's dumber than that still is rooting for little whiny crybabies like Tom. Giselle won't let me go to the Pro Bowl. Brady. Men slapping women. Racism. Animal abuse. Fake friends. People who welch on beds. Or anybody that's a member of, supports, and defends the Westboro Baptist Church. People and things like that are just plain stupid. I don't have time for it. And oh, hey kids, look, a deer. Get this. So I'm out of here. Y'all have an awesome night or day. Live long and prosper.